What is up, my heroes, and welcome to Small Time World. I'm your girl, Small Time Hero. Let's jump into the boys, but before we jump into the boys, thank you. I reached 100 subscribers. I know that's not a lot, but it's a lot for me because like 10 of them are family and friends, but the rest of them are just people who want to hear from me. So I'm really excited. I'm thankful, so very thankful. I don't think I can explain to you guys how thankful I truly am. But thank you for all the support and watching my videos and sharing my videos. If you want to see me talk to other people about Invincible, go over to the FPS podcast and you can check me out on their Frames Per Second podcast. There will be a link in the description so you can check that out. But yeah, I had a whole lot of fun talking to the guys about Invincible. And I appreciate everything you guys said and all the comments and everything. I truly do appreciate it. I am going to keep going and hopefully I get to show up over there again and you guys we can talk about it. Make sure you leave your questions. I'll answer them. Let's jump right into the boys. Season 5, episode 4, King of Hell. So at Vault Tower, Homelander and Firecracker are talking and Homelander says that Firecracker smells like Soldier Boy. We know why Firecracker smells like Soldier Boy. They are moshing genitalia. Well, honestly, it looked like Soldier Boy is rocking Firecracker's world. To be quite honest, they look very satisfied, if anything. But Firecracker says that it's just because they've been working close together. Which I mean, Homelander's not idiot. He's stupid, but he's not an idiot. He knows why the fuck they smell like each other or why she smells like Soldier Boy. There's no way he doesn't. Homelander tells Firecracker that he was visited by an angel and that angel told him that it was time for him to rise and ascend to reach his calling, his true calling, which Firecracker says that there's no higher purpose than to serve the Lord. And Homelander jumps off the cliff and is just like, I don't want to serve the Lord. I am the Lord. It was just a whole lot. Like, y'all remember when I was doing Invincible and we had to go to the depths of hell? And I was struggling with that shit. I am really struggling with calling Homelander Lord or even referring to him as that shit because it's just blasphemous. Like, it's just truly blasphemous. And I'm not even that hardcore of a Christian or like hardcore religious person, but like, this shit is blasphemous as fuck. Firecracker actually has a physical reaction, kind of like what I was saying. She has a physical reaction to referring to Homelander as God or Lord, and Homelander basically gives Firecracker the job of telling the people that he on her show, and she's just like, she's having a physical reaction to having to do this. And it's so funny because everybody walks around Vault Tower like it's just this great place, but these people are literally like choking themselves to make the shit that Homelander is asking for actually come true. And like, that's almost like crazy to me because it's just like, if you hate it this much, like, yeah, he might kill you or you could run. Like, you could get the A-Train got out, Annie got out, like a few people got out. A-Train is dead, I know. Reggie's dead, but like, seriously, they get out. Like, so I don't know. I personally couldn't imagine trying to carry through things that I just didn't agree with and try and put it on my back and hold it together as these people are. Like, I couldn't. I don't understand how it's going on in American politics. I don't understand how these people are working at Vault Tower. Like, I just don't get it because I'm one of them people. I'd be like, I'm out, bitch. If you gonna come kill me, kill me. But if not, leave me the fuck alone. Like, that shit sound like the intro to a Prince song. We're gathered here today. Okay, so at the boys' HQ, Butcher waits for Ryan to wake up after his ass whooping that Butcher set up. Ryan does wake up and Butcher blames Ryan for going in half cocked. And I think it's crazy that he's doing this because literally you gave him the idea. You sent that boy in there thinking that he was going to be able to take his daddy out or do something to his daddy, because you've always had this idea that he was going to be stronger than Homelander or he was going to be able to take Homelander out. You and Grace had that idea. And now we're seeing that he cannot. He doesn't have the experience. And that's one thing that while Homelander is a shitty person, Homelander is a terrible fucking soup, he's all these bad things, he has had experience fighting Supes and fighting other people who have powers and things like that. Because I mean, he's killed how many fucking Supes? I also think that's really interesting. Because do you guys remember at the end of Gen V, we actually see like Homelander tell Marie she was a terrible person because she took out, like, she hurt someone who had powers, another Supe. But we've literally seen Homelander kill many of Supes, like, and if not kill them, maim them. Because I mean, Queen Maeve had a missing eye and shit. Like, so he's like such a fucking hypocrite. It's ridiculous how much this nigga is a hypocrite. Like, it's just like everything that comes out your mouth is like, shut the fuck up. Butcher actually goes to get Ryan some water, and when he comes back, Ryan is gone. Which I figured he wasn't gonna stay there long. Like, I mean, the way Butcher talks to him and treats him, I wouldn't stay either. MM actually gets himself together.
Motherfucker.
And we actually see Frenchie working on the virus. Butcher asks how long will it take for the virus to be ready? And Frenchie says it's gonna be at least a few weeks because so much of it was used and there's so little of it left after Samir and Zoe took some bleach to it and bleached the hell out of that virus. It's not a whole lot to work with, so it honestly feels like Frenchie is starting from scratch. And we know that Frenchie was having trouble starting from scratch with the virus initially. Like, that's the whole reason why Samir was a big deal, because Frenchie wasn't able to manufacture this virus. Huey actually suggests that they go ahead and go to Fort Harmony. And he says that basically if they get to Fort Harmony before Homelander, they can get the V1 and make an antidote for Annie and Kamiko. Kamiko actually asks who's going to watch Ryan, and Butcher tells them that Ryan fucked off. And Huey makes a comment where he's just like, I wonder whose fault is that? I mean, Butcher does a really good job at running everybody off, but honestly, I truly thought that Ryan should have got the fuck away from Butcher as far as he could, because you prepping this kid to basically commit suicide. You like blew his head up to make him feel like he could fight his father, and he got his ass whooped. And then after he got his ass whooped, you blamed him for getting his ass whooped after you went out of your way to get this kid to come to you, because you set up that whole Zoe situation so Ryan would come to you. Like, you've done nothing but hurt this child. Like, Butcher sucks. And while I know he thinks he's better than Homelander because he didn't beat up Ryan, you sent him in there to get his ass whooped. And on top of that, you have powers. So you could have gone with Ryan. You could have tried to stop Ryan. You could have shown up a whole lot earlier. Like, honestly, because you had a tracker. And you showing up after Homelander whooped Ryan's ass just shows me that you were waiting to see if Ryan could actually take Homelander. Butcher is worse for Ryan than Homelander is. I think everybody knows that, but I'm just gonna make sure I say it. And I guess it bothers me because they try and make it seem like Butcher's the better option, or going with Grace Mallory was a better option. And honestly, it's not. Like, Becca was probably the best situation for Ryan, and he's probably never gonna have that again. And I hate that for him, because everybody just wants to use him, and it's like, you don't even know what you're using him for. Like, y'all tried to prep him to go kill Homelander, and like, you can't do it. He's never fought anybody before. Like, he tore up them fucking soldiers, but that was pure off of like Supe power and not like fighting another Supe. That's like a baby. Like, that's kind of like with the Flintstones. You remember how Bam Bam would just pick up anyone, bam, 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 because he was abnormally strong? That's just what that was. Him taking out them soldiers isn't him being able to fight, him being able to handle himself. That's just him taking out humans. And he should at the least be able to take out humans, right? But not Homelander. That's a whole nother fucking monster. So Butcher fucked him. And I don't even understand why. So after Huey asked Butcher where Ryan was, Butcher shoots back at Huey, and he's like, so where's Annie? Where's Starlight? And Huey just kind of looks. But like, the difference is Huey didn't do anything to Starlight. He just almost died. And she was like, I can't take this shit out
in this closet when I told you no wire hangers ever.
The Ryan shit was Butcher's fault. So it is what it is with that. Annie shows up to her father's house, in which we've heard of Annie's father. Like, in the first couple seasons, we found out that he used to work for the phone company, and that he left Starlight and her mom because he couldn't, take care of her or whatever. He couldn't hack it as a dad. And yeah, that's what we know of her father. Like, I truly didn't know she knew where he was, but she flies directly into his yard. Like, what up, nigga? I'm here. I've been watching. When Annie does show up, she actually finds out that she has a brother, Mason. Her father doesn't necessarily want to talk to her. He's shoveling snow. She finds out that her father has a whole nother fucking family, which I feel like that's not something a kid wants to find out. But at the same time, your dad has been gone since you were a kid, though. Like, yeah, he does have a whole nother family. Thought Tower, Sage actually has a conversation with the president on the phone about the funding public schools, that Homelander Freedom Academy would, give vouchers to other students who come from public schools and things like that in order to build up the Freedom Academy. We do find out that Mason, Annie's brother or Starlight's brother, is at a Homelander. So like all of this shit is already happening, to be quite honest. It's already like in the works, it's moving. Sage says that the president doesn't want the kids to learn about gay penguins or become woke jihad. The gay penguin shit reminds me of Parks and Rec, where Leslie married the penguins. Like, it's so funny how far we've come with TV. Like, although The Boys is a satirical show, like, I do remember watching Parks and Rec and watching Leslie marry those fucking penguins. The gay penguins.
Are they making babies?
Not those two. Those are both boy penguins.
I'm sorry?
Tux and Flipper are both boys. So you should have pronounced them husband and husband, technically.
That's awesome.
And it was just like, that was normal. Like, that was the controversy. Like, she married gay. Now it's like, you don't want them to learn about gay penguins. And is gay penguins like a thing? Like, can you let me know in the comments if like gay penguins are a thing? Because first of all, I fucking love penguins. That's like my favorite fucking animal. They're so cute. Oh my god, they're so cute. And they're black and white and they're so cute. But past that, is that like a thing, like an epidemic, like how like dolphins are rapists? Can I say rapists? How dolphins take advantage of other dolphins, or you. They will take a dolphin will take you. So be careful with them dolphins. Let's move on. So Soulja Boy actually walks into Sage's office while she's on the phone. She hangs up the call. We find out that Sage actually summoned Soulja Boy, and he came, even though he's a fucking racist. He actually does have another offensive remark about having sex with Nell Carter, which I know who Nell Carter. I'm gonna put a picture in here so you know who Nell Carter is. I know who Nell Carter is, but I don't necessarily know how to get y'all to know who Nell Carter is. But I'm gonna put a picture in here of her so you know exactly. Because I think Nell Carter was on Hanging with Mr. Cooper. I think she was the principal. So that's who Soulja Boy is talking about, if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to do my research, but I think that's who he's talking about. Sage does tell Soulja Boy that he cannot have cocaine in his rider. Your rider is kind of like this thing that you request, like what you request for like green rooms and screen rooms and things like that when you go to do like shows in Hollywood and things like that. It's just what you specifically want. Like, if you ever heard the stories of like, I only eat like red M&Ms or pull all the green M&Ms out, or I want a big bowl of hot Cheetos, but instead of them being hot Cheetos, I want them to be regular Cheetos with a little hot Cheetos mixed in. Like that kind of crazy ass request. Yeah. That's what a rider is. And she's basically telling him in his rider he can't have a big bowl of cocaine, which he is offended by because he wants his big bowl of cocaine. Once again, Soulja Boy is a drug addict. People.
Yes, you do. You smoke crack, don't you? You smoke crack, don't you?
Everybody on this show is a drug addict, and I did see somebody on TikTok say that that's why a lot of the soups make a lot of mistakes, because a lot of them, I've said a lot. That's why most soups make mistakes, because a lot of them are so fucked up on drugs that they can't actually use their powers to like a certain degree. But that's the thing with Homelander. Homelander has this certain amount of discipline. I don't know what to call it, because it's like saying Homelander is disciplined is crazy. But he has this certain amount of like, I'm not doing that shit. Like, he's better than that. Like, I'm better than drugs. I'm better than alcohol. Like, and he also has a lot more control over his powers than most soups do. Sage tells Soulja Boy to take it up with Homelander when he gets back from Fort Harmony, and which I think she was kind of like sowing the seeds so that Soulja Boy would go. And of course we know that he doesn't want Homelander to live forever, so I feel like she was just trying to let him know, like, hey, he finna go, and so you need to go and stop this shit. Like, it's so funny how she's moving things, but at the same time, you're still kind of like, are you just doing all of this for chaos? Like, because some of it just doesn't feel like it can be her actual, like, plan. A lot of it feels like chaos. And chaos could be the plan. I could be right. Chaos could be the plan. So with the boys, they actually hike through the forest that leads to Fort Harmony. In episode 4, Stan tells them that a lot of like Boy Scouts and everything died in that forest, in that like those wooded area. So like we actually are seeing these dead corpses, and we are seeing that the boys' temperament towards each other is changing. Just kind of like almost random, but like it felt to me like it had been going on all day. Like even with the Kamiko, Frenchie and Huey hug situation, like it felt like it had already been stirring throughout the whole day. But I do understand that those are their regular emotions heightened by this soup who makes people angry. He heightens their emotions, but it doesn't look like he heightens anything other than anger. Kamiko points out that there aren't any animals, and like I've told y'all before, if there's no animals, it's the issue. The Deep and Noir are on their podcast set, and the Deep is actually eating seafood. And Noir confronts him about the Stan Edgar shit. He is not okay with that shit. He is still upset about the Stan Edgar shit, and I understand it. And we actually get a moment where somebody actually Deep how stupid he is, and like how he like and how bad people talk about him behind his back. And the Deep is like, nobody says that, broseph. Nobody. Like, yes, they do. Everyone thinks you're fucking dumb. Everyone thinks you're fucking dumb, cause you are fucking dumb. But yeah, Noir is upset about that shit, and I don't blame him. Be upset, bro. The White House, we actually see Ashley and Father, and we do find out, because I thought like Ashley had given up her life of freakdom, but we find out that Ashley is still the biggest freaking the biggest freak on the boys, man. Like, and the way they talk about sex is so unappealing. Like, I just can't. Like, what she said, I love busting gushers on your, like, bitch, what? And with my thing is, with Ashley, it could actually be gushers. Like that. like it don't always have to be like sexual. It could be actual like gushers from a pack, because Ashley freaky as fuck, and there's just no reason for her to be that fucking freaky. And it's so funny because I feel like Ashley is a satire on like smart women, and how like how like being smart almost intrinsically like leads to being like overly freaky, because you gotta let that, like, if you're like super disciplined in things and you do everything by the book, you gotta let that out like somewhere, and it usually comes out within their sexual appetites, and Ashley just fits that shit. She's such a stereotype, and she's a redhead, so like, yeah. Called that bitch fire crotch. and then was like, not you, the other one, bitch. Father and Ashley finished, and apparently he used his sonic voice to push the ball gag out. And so if you look into the scene, the ball gag is actually in the wall. It's just so much, man. It's just so much. But Father checks his phone, and he finds out that the church is actually in trouble financially. And he tells her that everything's okay. He just has to go to a meeting with some of the deacons. I think he said deacons. And Bashley is like, he's lying. Y'all are in financial issues. Y'all having financial issues. And so Ashley's like, whoa, what the fuck? Like, what's going on? And it's so funny because she, from being like super in the moment, oh, we just had sex, I'm really feeling it, it was a great session, to what the fuck? Like, what are you trying to do to me here? Then she's like, listen, I brought you in here to get a bump with the evangelical, no, I think they said Sage brought him in to get a bump with the evangelical Christians, and not turn her into fucking Tammy Faye, which I thought was funny, because Tammy Faye's husband went to jail for embezzling. He was convicted and imprisoned on numerous counts of fraud and conspiracy in 1989. Like, all of this actually happened, so it's so funny. Because honestly, Father would probably do that to Ashley. Honestly, like, I don't trust anybody on this fucking show. Firecracker actually walks into their freaky ass abode, and she says it smells like a wet shit in a Waffle House. Wow. Now, here's something that I will say. While I do understand that Firecracker is a redneck, I don't know if I've ever really experienced Florida rednecks. So it's not that I haven't dealt with people from Florida. It's just I don't really know any rednecks from Florida. So like that wet shit in the Waffle House, that was crazy. Like, to me, I was like, what the fuck? And I'm a Southern girl. Like, I'm from Georgia. I live in Atlanta. Like, I'm a Southern girl. So I'm just like, that is so weird. The crew hikes up to Fort Harmony finally. And Huey actually talks to Kamiko about Annie. And he says that he was bad touched last year. And she made it all about herself. And he was. Like, if we really break it down, what happened between Huey and the shapeshifter, she raped him. Because, I mean, he didn't know who he was having sex with. He thought he was having sex with someone else. And so that gets rid of consent right there. So, like, yeah, he's right in this situation. Like, she was going through something. Like, she had been kidnapped by the fucking body switcher and everything. So I understand that Starlight was going through something. But she had no, like, kind of anything for Huey. Like, she was just like, fuck you. Like, you fuck this bitch, fuck you. Like, that's just how it was. And he kind of calls her a bitch. And honestly, with all the shit that they've been through, I kind of felt Huey. I'm not saying that she's a bitch. I'm just saying that I kind of understand where he was coming from. But we also know that there's something else affecting him. Because he would never talk about Annie like this. Like, he would rather fix it with Annie than actually have this conversation with anybody else. And we do kind of know that about Huey. They actually walk up to a slaughtering of the animals, kind of, sowing the seeds that something is killing these, like the Boy Scouts, this couple, the animals, something is doing it. And we kind of find out that it's not something, it's themselves. So at Annie's dad's house, Kathy, who is Annie's stepmother, Kathy and Annie actually formally meet. Annie questions her father about his life and, what he's doing. And, she asks him about the phone company and she finds out that he's a cop. In the moment, she kind of wants to leave, but Kathy actually says, hey, don't leave. We're about to have stroganoff. It's hamburger helper, but you're very welcome to stay. And can you take a shower because you stink? Hey, man, this show don't mind people telling each other they stink. Like, it's ridiculous. But, I mean, when you on the run, you on the run. Annie's little brother is like, so we're inviting the soup killer to dinner? And, I mean, I get it. Because, like, kids kind of gravitate into, like, the media. Even more so than we do. Like, even when we were kids, our parents were always telling us to Google, ask Jeeves, this, that, and the third. So, like, yeah, you believe the things that you see online, but you do your own due diligence. But for kids nowadays, like, the parents, and I'm part of that generation, not because I have a child, but like, we're not necessarily telling our kids to look that up, find out what that means on your own. They kind of take what they get from social media and just like, yeah, that's what it is. So I can definitely see Annie's brother just feeling like she's a soup killer. At Vought Tower, Vought has wrangled the writers. We actually see Worm again, which is funny, and we see like a studio exec also. Her name is Courtney. But they brainstorm with Firecracker in how to bring Homelander to the world and have the world accept him as their leader and Lord. Jesus. Homelander? Yeah. And like, they're actually having issues like coming up with a pitch because it's not pitchable. Like, a few times it said nobody is going to accept this man as their Lord and Savior. Like, it's a few times that it said. But they still keep pushing it. They still come up with a way. Ashley definitely points out the fact that nobody is going to accept Homelander as their Lord and Savior. And Father kind of steps in and stops her. And he's like, hey, look, Homelander brings in 22% more money. So if you worried about money in the church, you need to shut the fuck up. And she does. Which is crazy because it just shows like how much people's feelings and hearts will be against something. And because the money is right, they're like, yeah, I'm fucking with the money. I don't give a fuck about none of that shit. That sucks. But, I mean, it brings back, like, a very old saying that most people will cover their own ass before they ever cover your back. Worm kind of pitches telling a story, and Firecracker comes up with this Democratic Church of America story, and everybody is just blown away and in awe. And I'm just like, this shit sounds dumb, just like the real world shit that's going on sounds dumb. Homelander and Soldier Boy actually, get on their way to Fort Harmony. And the funny thing about it is, like, they're hiking and they're taking jabs at each other, and they don't even notice that the shit, like the soup shit, is fucking with them in the groundwater. Like, they don't even notice that shit because they're just automatically fucking terrible. With the boys start arguing again, and Frenchie kind of points out that they aren't acting like themselves. And it's so funny because, like, they're like looking at him like, it's nothing wrong with you. And he's like, wow, maybe my years of
You smoke crack, don't you?
Frenchie says that his years of drug use and drug abuse have basically made him immune to the effects of this hate mongering, whatever it is. And so it's actually kind of cool because it's like, yeah, I screwed up my brain chemistry, but I'm not chomping at y'all like this. So it's actually kind of a cute like situation for Frenchie, because Frenchie is definitely the get along guy. Like, he's gonna come along, he gonna get along, and he gonna make out with Kamiko, whoever his sexual interest is at that time. But right here, we actually see him take a stance. And I'm not mad at that. At Annie's dad's house, Annie's father says that on the days where they round up Starlighters, he stays home. He calls out sick. And apparently they don't find anything suspicious about that. But, I mean, they have no reason to question him. So Annie actually asked her father if he ever really wanted her or wanted his, that family. And he says that he did want her. He shows her his box of keepsakes. He saw the Dawn of the Seven. He saw, movies with her. He has, like, different things with her face on it, all the shit that she did. And he actually tells her that he's always been very proud of her, but he was more proud of her the moment she decided to quit the Seven. Annie asks her father, she's like, hey, why did you leave if you still care about me? If you have these keepsakes, why did you leave me? And he tells her that, like, her mother decided that they were going to, like, give her V. And when she decided that, she felt like she was making the world a better place. Her mother knew from the start that the V wasn't actually making her a natural born superhero, but she told her that anyway. And Annie's father is just kind of like, once, she started lying and you started believing it and eating it up and believing that it was true, that you were God sent like this, I couldn't be part of it no more, so I left. Which I feel like that was cowardly, because you could have told your daughter, like, hey, look, this is a drug. Like, if you felt that way from the beginning, you could have, but it was easy for you to leave, so you did. And that's cowardly. He tells her that the people that you love aren't necessarily a noose around your neck, but they're the reason why you fight. And I think that's a really important, like, lesson for her to learn. And, like, it resonated with me too as a person with a kid. Like, your family doesn't choke you or restrain you or keep you from being, all that you can be, but they do give you something to fight for. They give you something to feel for. They're the reason why you feel so deeply. So I definitely understood this. So finally the boys make it to Fort Harmony, and they are kind of going through Fort Harmony, and they walk upon hunters. And Frenchie points out that the hunters actually look like they might have killed each other, and the vines, or using the hunter's decomposing body as a source of food and nutrition. Which, I mean, that's kind of how plant life, the plant cycle works. So Frenchie hypothesized that the V1 leaked into the groundwater, and it basically made the plant super. Now, we've already seen that, like, temp V and regular V that's going around now can actually give animals powers. And on top of giving animals powers, it creates cancerous, like, cells. It drives them crazy. It makes them overly aggressive. A lot of things that happen to Butcher with the temp V shit. So if it can affect animals, I think it could probably affect plants too. So I have this theory about V1 that it does turn the survivors into dicks and make them really, really evil. I won't actually be sure until we see Bomb Sight, but everyone who, like, lived through the V1 trials, it almost seems like they are, like, overly dicks and have no emotions. I know Soulja Boy does kind of, like, have weird emotions, but, like, we think about Stormfront, and, like, she was fucking terrible. She was just a fucking racist, and it was like her racism was amplified times 10 with that V1 shit. So yeah, I feel like the V1 like turns people aggressive. It already kills people, but I feel like it also turns people aggressive as shit. So the boys actually see Homelander and Soldier Boy coming up to Fort Harmony, and so Frenchie gets out deer urine and sprays it all over the boys. And MM is like, I'm not doing that shit, but he puts down a motion sensor tracker, so they see them and they know that they're there. At Annie's dad's house, Mason watches the Deep and Noir's podcast. But Mason actually has a conversation with Annie, and they kind of like bond a little bit over the fact that their father, you know, he still does some of the things that he did with Annie when she was a kid by taking them to Dunkin' Donuts and giving them a lot of sweets, which I feel like is a dad thing. You know, she actually kind of bonds with her brother, although when she walks in, she sees that he has like this whole shrine of super women that he masturbates to, because his dad said he walked in on him like, knock before you go in type shit. So it was just weird. Soldier Boy and Homelander actually arrive at Fort Harmony, and the boys find where what was left of the TV was actually a smashed medicine cabinet, or a smashed like cabinet, and heroin, which makes them feel like bomb site took it. At Annie's dad's house, after everything that, you know, Annie and Mason kind of talk about, we find out that Mason actually pulled a Bobby Drake's little brother in X-Men 2 and calls the police on the whole family, basically like, we got Starlight here, like, hey, come get her because she here at my house. And like Ed shows up and he's like, yo, your son said Starlight's here, she not fucking here for real, like this gotta be a joke. And Ed comes in and he sees Starlight because of course Rick, who is Annie's father, tells him that Starlight is there and she's his daughter. He is able to kind of de-escalate the situation, and Ed leaves, but he says that he's going to give them an hour and that he's coming back with Livewire. So, like, these soups are really, like, these soups who are policing the state are really fucking terrifying these people. At Fort Harmony, Soldier Boy questions if Homelander ever really had sex, which I feel like is funny. And Homelander says that he has, and then he actually got his dick wet and he wiped it on the chin of Stormfront. Soldier Boy has like this reaction where it's kind of like, ew, but like I'm still kind of in the like, how is she his mom? Like, did she donate her eggs? Did they take his egg? Did they take her eggs? Didn't she go into hiding for a while before she became Storm? So I'm just questioning all of this shit. So as things are getting like even more compassionate with the boys, they actually get to fighting. So MM tells everybody that basically they're not going to use that shit to make any kind of fucking antidote for Annie or Kimiko. They're going to burn that shit when they get it. And Huey kind of flips out because he's like, you do this shit all the time. And so they actually start to fight, and all of them are fighting except for Frenchie. Frenchie is the only one that is not actually fighting. With Homelander and Soldier Boy, Homelander kind of like reads Soldier Boy the riot act. He's like, you bought your way into having superpowers, and your brother was the real one who was the actual like soldier and who had all these accolades. And like, he go in on Soldier Boy like, I read your file, like you ain't that nigga that you think you is, nigga. I know who you. In retaliation, Soldier Boy locks Homelander in a uranium cell. So it's not going to kill, but it will like cause issues. Like, not as soon as he gets away from the uranium, he's back to fine. But like right now, you're gonna be sick, nigga. And he locks him in there, and he can't get out. Like, he's trying to use his laser eyes and everything. He just cannot actually get out. Also, it's very important to point out the fact that Soldier Boy's plan is to torch the V1 also. So everybody has the same plan. They're gonna burn this shit up. So Frenchie actually finds the source of the anger with the source of the anger from everyone, and Butcher finds Homelander in the cell and basically kind of gives him a one-over, tells him that he's gonna kill him and this, that, and the third. And then Homelander pulls Butcher's card. He's like, you don't have the virus. If you had the virus, you would have already used it by now. And that's very true. He fucked himself with the Samir and Zoe thing, so he does not have the virus right now. So Butcher actually calls Homelander weak for beating up Ryan, because we do know that Butcher's father used to beat Butcher, his brother, and his mom. So he does have like a very soft place for that kind of situation. But at the same time, you sent that boy in there for that shit. So like, while you trying to make Homelander feel bad about that, which he does not feel bad. He's just like, Ryan is like me, he's strong, so he'll be fine. you sent him in there, so you should feel just as bad. Sorry, Homelander, dickhead. Homelander actually promises to kill all the non-believers, which means everybody. Huey and MM actually hunt each other, and Huey actually shoots MM through the back, which is actually interesting. Kimiko attacks MM, and it's so funny because when Kimiko actually gets ready to attack MM, and when he like sees that she's finna attack him, and she bends that iron in front of him, he like, I ain't got time for this. Nope. he pulled a Red Daddy move again. He like, no. He go and get into like this room, and Kimiko actually starts to hunt Huey. An incinerator? Yeah, he jumps into an incinerator. And Kimiko is actually trying to get to him, and like she's banging and banging, like she doesn't have the thought to actually open the hatch. Like Frenchie actually finds Quinn, and when he finds Quinn, he's like, oh my god. So he goes looking for Soulja Boy, and he taunts Soulja Boy into following him and chasing after him. And when he taunts Soulja Boy into following him and chasing after him, Soulja Boy actually discovers Quinn also. Frenchie's plan is to have Soulja Boy like unleash his chest blast on Quinn and kill him so that everybody will stop trying to kill each other. But Soulja Boy actually knows Quinn, and I think it's his brother, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's his brother's name. And like he's very upset, but of course Quinn's powers are to make him angry. So while he wasn't necessarily super angry before, now he's like so uncontrollably angry that he kills Quinn. And you can honestly see that he feels bad about killing Quinn, but he kind of had to do it type situation. So there's that. So once Quinn is blown up, all the hate goes away. Everybody kind of comes back to normal. It's almost instant. After everybody's hate is gone, everybody kind of gets collected, and the boys actually drive back to headquarters listening to Mambo number 5. At Annie's dad's house, she prepares to leave. Well, Mason apologizes, first of all, for almost getting her shot and taken away, but also Annie's dad tells her not to give up on the people that love her and that he does love her. She cries. They say they love each other. She cries and she leaves, right? Back at Fort Harmony, Homelander escapes and finds Soulja Boy. Like, he finally gets his way out of the uranium, and he finds Soulja Boy, who is crying in like a room, and basically tells Homelander to kill him. He's like, go ahead, do it, kill me. And Homelander just kind of like leaves. He walks away, which I feel like is crazy. He can't kill his father. Like,
smack your goddamn daddy. Yeah.
You damn near killed Ryan, but you can't kill your daddy. Okay. At the boys' HQ, Kimiko thanks and apologizes to Frenchie about everything that went down and her calling him a feckless man whore, I think she said. And Frenchie tells her that he can be anything for her, but she also says that she does not want to change him, but she does want to change herself and become better, and that she thinks that he thrives in chaos, and while she does live in chaos, she does not want to thrive in it. She wants to move on. Butcher and MM semi kind of apologize, with like Butcher kind of trying to pretend like he didn't mean any of it, and MM like, motherfucker, I meant every single thing I said. Everything. But we good though. Butcher is actually watching a video of Dr. Vought and Soulja Boy being tested on. Samaritan's Embrace actually becomes the Democratic Church of America. And O-Father calls Homelander the prophet of the Lord, while Homelander has another spiritual awakening. And at this point, I feel like O-Father is doing this shit. Like, because it's like, why? Why has it continuously happened? We haven't seen any of this before. And I know it's probably because he's having a crisis of, like, they can explain it away with a crisis of faith. But I really feel like it's O-Father. I feel like it's O-Father doing this. And that is the end of the episode. Guys, thank you. If you watched this whole episode through, I appreciate you. Make sure you like, subscribe, share. Make sure you talk to me in the comments, because I do talk back. And once again, thank you guys for 100 followers. For 100 subscribers. I truly appreciate it. I really do love doing this. So if I can continue to bring you guys content, I will continue to bring you guys content. So let's jump into the next episode of The Boys on the next video. I will holla at y'all later.